Hey guys, I know this is a crazy way to have the first day of class, but some things came up where I was not able to be there. I wish I could have been, but I didn't want to waste a bunch of time in the classroom when I got back. I wanted us to get straight to writing, so I decided to just kind of film this thing this way. My son was kind enough to help me out, and we're going to kind of go over the syllabus and what you're going to need for class, a little bit about what the class is going to be about. And I think that will save us some time. Again, I apologize for not being able to be there in person. I just had some things come up that were totally out of my control. So I'm excited about this semester. I'm always excited when it comes to cycling. I love cycling. I'm more of a mountain biker, but I love riding a bike of any kind whenever I can. And I know that you guys are going to feel the same way once this class is over with. This is basically beginning cycling, and it's going to be, we're going to meet on Tuesday and Thursdays. For you guys that are brand new, we're going to meet at the Farrell Center in the parking lot, just right across the street from the ticket office. You'll see my big truck and a big trailer that says Bear Mountain on it. It was a really cool place for us to meet because we could start from there and ride pretty much anywhere we want. If it starts raining or anything, we've got the Farrell Center right there. The first couple of days, we normally meet inside the foyer and we talk a little bit, which is where you guys should be right now. I've got somebody there, hopefully, showing you this video. But that's where we're going to meet for about 4 times, and then we'll start riding. We'll ride around the parking lot. We'll make sure everybody is confident and safe, and their bikes work really well, and everything is good. And when we're comfortable, we'll hit the roads. We'll do a lot of cool things in this class. We'll ride to a Dichotomy, Lula Jane's. We'll go to the Dr. Pepper Museum. We'll ride downtown. We'll do some rides out by the cemetery. I know it sounds crazy, but it's fun. It's kind of cool. We'll ride to some different places. But anyway, we'll do what we can in class. I know this is a tough class because some of you guys have a class before we have this class, and some of you guys have a class after this class. So the time frame is kind of crazy. Hey, I'm going to give you about 10 extra minutes to get there while everybody's getting their bikes ready, and I'm getting bikes out, getting everything ready. So that'll give you 5 or 10 minutes to get there and get ready to go. And I'll give you about an extra 10 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes when we get through to make sure you have time to get to your next class, to get cleaned up and get to your next class. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. I love riding the bike. Let me kind of tell you, my name is Ray Lamb. I'll be the instructor for this course. Some of you guys know me. I'm actually a PGA professional. One of the things I've done my whole life is make a living playing golf and teaching other people to play golf. I've also taught golf here for Baylor University for about 22 years. I still teach a lot, but about 6 years ago I started riding the bike. My son kind of got me into it. It was one of those things where I worked out all the time. I thought I was in shape. He took me for a ride. I realized I wasn't in shape. And so I got a bike and I started riding, and I just fell in love with it. I'm pretty competitive, so I started racing. Didn't do a really good job racing, especially in the beginning. It's hard when I think at the time I was 54, I'm like 60 now, so I'm old. But you don't do a very good job racing against young guys. So they were killing me, and it's, if you're competitive, it's not fun to get beat on a bicycle. So I started doing different kind of races, and one of the races that I found I was pretty successful at was long distance racing. I know it sounds crazy, but 24-hour racing kind of turned into be one of the things that I fell in love with, because I was good at it. 24-hour racing means you get on a bike and you ride a certain track, a certain trail for 24 hours without getting off. The person that goes the farthest in that 24 hours wins. I did really, really well at that in a lot of local races. I qualified for the national championship, finished 15th, qualified for the world championships out in California. Didn't get to attend that for some other reasons, but something I really, really fell in love with, and that led to me saying, hey, if I could stay on the bike for 24 hours in one day, maybe I could stay on the bike for 24 hours 2 days in a row. Next thing you know, I was endurance racing, which is kind of what that bike is all about. Endurance racing is one of those things where you just ride a long, long distance. My last long race was from Banff, Canada to Mexico. It's 3,000 miles, 200,000 feet of climbing in the wilderness, not on roads, on trails. Getting water out of streams, sleeping on the ground, dodging mountain storms, bears, mountain lions, things of that nature. Pretty awesome adventure, really, really an awesome adventure. So I enjoy that. I guess I'm better at that than a lot of people. And most of the guys that are successful at that sport are a little older, not my age, but they're a little older. I think maybe it's because young people have better things to do with their time than stay on a bike for 24 hours a day in the middle of nowhere. So that race took me 20 some odd days to finish. It broke my hand the first day, so it made it kind of tough in the wilderness, but it was fun. Anyway, I fell in love with the sport. I started teaching cycling at Baylor. That we didn't have cycling classes or mountain bike classes, so I said, hey, why don't we offer these classes? And they turned out to be extremely popular. Some of the most popular Lifetime Fitness classes that we have, especially the mountain biking, the road biking as well. Road biking is a little more difficult to teach because it's hard for us to go any length of time because guys do have classes before and after. Mountain biking is a 1-day-a-week class, so we can go a lot longer. But you're going to enjoy this class. I'm going to make it fun for you. A couple of things that we need to know. One is you got to have a decent bike. And when I say a decent bike, in road biking, what we're going to be doing, you can have any kind of bike. A lot of you guys are going to go, hey, I've got a road bike like this. This is my road bike. I never ride it, but it is my road bike. It's weighs about 11 pounds. It's a specialized Peter Sagan special edition. It's about $14,000 bike. Sits in my house, never gets ridden, maybe once a year. But road bikes are great for what we're going to do. Road bikes are good when you're riding on a very smooth surface and there's not a lot of cracks or gravel or things of that nature. They're meant for going very, very fast for a short period of time. They don't have any suspension on them, so they're very quick. They got very small tires, not much resistance. Kind of hard on your butt, but you know, we ride such short distances, I don't think any of you guys will have any problems with it. So if you have a bike like this, that's great, okay? I personally think that people, when they first start riding a bike and taking classes, that they should start, no matter if it's a road bike class or a mountain bike class, they should start on a mountain bike or a hybrid of sort. Much safer. This is my mountain bike. I don't ride this one much either. It's my 24-hour bike. I mostly ride a single speed, but you can see this bike's a little different. It has a suspension, so on the back, when you hit bumps, it kind of gives a little bit. It also has a front suspension that gives a little bit when you hit a bump. It's got flat bars. It's a little bit more comfortable. The tires are bigger. You can run a little bit less air pressure, so it absorbs a lot of the bumps that you hit on the road. Plus, they're much, much safer for a beginner when you're on the road. If you hit a crack or gravel or a pothole, you're all right with this. If you hit a small animal, anything, I mean, you're going to be fine. You'll just run right over it. If you get run off the road, you can run through the grass and jump something and be really cool and run right back onto the road. On a road bike, that's a fall every time. You hit a little crack, you hit gravel, pretty easy to go down on those. So the bikes that I provide for the people in class that rent bikes are brand new, but they're all a mountain bike. Okay, I just think it's a lot safer and easier to ride on. A lot of people go, well, they're so much slower. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I did the Waco Wild West. That's a 100-mile race we have here in town. The fastest time I've ever done it on my road bike was 4 hours and 20 minutes, and I think it took me 4 hours and 40 minutes on my mountain bike. So I don't see a big difference in the two, not for me anyway. But it doesn't matter to me which bike you use, or a hybrid. You know, a hybrid is kind of a cross between that bike and this bike. Has smaller tires, still got the flat bars, sometimes no suspension, but any of those bikes will work. Okay, the main thing is I just want your bike to be in good shape. And that's important to me because when we're riding, if your bike breaks down a lot, that kind of puts the rest of us in a bind. If we're riding downtown or somewhere and your bike breaks down, as long as we can fix it, we're cool. I mean, we can get it fixed, we can go, and we're in good shape. If it breaks in such a way that I can't fix it, then we're kind of stuck. What normally happens in that situation is I have to leave everybody right where they are. The person's bike that's broke down, I have to walk them back to the Farrell Center where we started, and then I got to ride back to where you guys are so that we can all ride together as a class. I can never let you ride by yourself. So if your bike's broke down, I can't let you walk by yourself back to Baylor either. So you got to have a bike that's in pretty good shape. My good friend Jeremiah at Bear Mountain, pretty awesome guy. If you just take your bike into Jeremiah, they will look at it, they will let you know, hey, this is good or that's bad or it's great for race class, or maybe you got a little something wrong with it, they'll tell you. And if you want to get it fixed somewhere else, you're welcome to. If you want them to fix it, they'll fix it for you. They'll do a great job and they'll do it cheaper than anybody else in town. Just tell them that I sent you in there. But once we have a good bike that's in good working order, we're in great shape. If you don't have a bike, you can always rent a bike from me. I don't know how many I have left in each class. If you just email me or text me or call me if you have to, you got on the syllabus, you'll have my phone number. Just let me know that if you need a bike and I'll tell you if I have any left or not. The bikes that I rent for people in class, they're pretty good bikes. I buy these, if I don't kill myself here, I buy these new every year, every semester actually. I buy brand new bikes. This year I went with the Salsa Timberjack, great bike, all internal cables, 29-inch wheels, hydraulic brakes, a one-by on the drivetrain, just a great, great bike. Got a nice suspension on the front. These bikes are about $1,300. I rent them to the students for $175. That includes everything, a helmet, the bike. I transport it to and from. You don't have to do anything but show up and ride. It has the repair kit on the back. It's got everything you'll need. If you tear it up, you wreck it, you trash it, I pay for it. It costs you nothing. So it's about the most feasible way for you to start the sport if you don't want to go invest a lot of money in a cycle. If you have your own, that's great, but if you don't, I'm just telling you this is an option. I've rented a lot out in each class. I just don't know how many. Just call me or text me. Let me know if you need one, and I'll see if I have any left for you. Again, once we have a good working bike, for those of you that have your own bike and you're not renting from me, there's a couple of things that I want to make sure you have. You can see this pouch on the back of my single speed. This is what I ride pretty much every day. Inside that pouch, there's a couple things that each one of you guys need to have that's fit for your bike, not for my bike. I have a tube. So if I have a flat, well, that's our main problem, especially in road biking. We don't have hardly any problems other than just the fact that you can have a flat. So if you have a flat, you need to repair that tire, to repair the tube, which means we got to be able to get the tire off the wheel. So you got to have a simple, I have one over here as well. This is a tire tool. They're about $2. They don't cost very much, but this helps us get the tire off of the wheel. Then you have to have a tube that fits your wheel, and wheels are different. Some are 26-inch, 29-inch, different wheels. So make sure you have a tube that fits your wheel. Once we get the tube out, the old tube out, we put the new tube in. We got to air it up. So you got to have some kind of device to help air it up. I use a little CO2 cartridge. This is pretty cool. It's a little CO2 cartridge with a nozzle on it. You screw it on, pops it right up. If you don't have one of these, or you don't want to use one of these, you're welcome to just get one of those little small handheld pumps. It takes a little bit longer, but the good thing is if you have to use it, you don't have to go back and replace the CO2 cartridge. So those things you have to have on your bicycle, in a pouch, on your bike, or on your body at all times. I really would rather them be on the bike. A lot of times students say, hey coach, I'm just going to carry it in the back of my shirt. But what happens is you wind up leaving it in the car or not putting it in your shirt. You forget it and then you need it and we don't have anything to fix it. So make sure, if you could, that you have it on the bike. Also, make sure you can get your wheel off, your front and your back wheels. Some guys still have old bikes that have a nut on the wheel. If that's the case, you need to make sure you have a wrench that will fit that nut and make sure it's in that bag on the back of your bike for the repair kit. Bear Mountain sells those repair kits to my students at a very, very big discount. I think it's like $40. You'll have everything you need in there. Just go in and let them look at your bike and they'll say, okay, you need this size tube, you need this size, this, that, and the other. They'll hook you all up. It'll be ready to go. The other thing you need is some type of hydration device. You know, I use a bottle. Bottles are pretty simple. And when I say bottle, this is a water bottle. This is a water bottle. This water bottle is acceptable in class. This water bottle is not acceptable in class. This will fit in a cage, a water cage on the bike pretty easily. So if I put it in here, it snaps in. It's in there. It's not going to come out. If I put this in there, it just kind of sets in there, and the minute I hit a bump, it'll just bounce and fall out. If you run over a water bottle when you're on the road, it's pretty easy for your tire to come out from under you and cause you to fall. So it won't be a hassle for you if you drop a water bottle, but for the people behind you, it very well could be. I don't want to see these kind of bottles. I want you to use these kind of bottles. These bottles are cheap, $2 or something. They're very, very cheap. You can get them at any local bicycle shop. You can get them at Walmart. You can get them pretty much anywhere. So this is the kind of bottle that I would get if it was me. That's the kind of thing I would carry. If you don't want to carry a water bottle, and some people don't because they're not comfortable reaching down and getting a bottle off their bike and drinking while they're riding, and you need to hydrate when we're riding. We can't stop every time somebody needs to get a drink. So some people choose to use a Camelback. Those are pretty nice. You just put it on. I'm sure you guys are familiar with them. There's a pretty neat hydration device. Snaps in the front. It's got a hose hanging down. You can drink from it while you're riding. You can just reach up, take a drink, let go of the hose. You're in great shape. Also has storage in the back for your phone, your keys, things of that nature. But you can use whichever one you want. Dress comfortably. Wear some shoes you don't care about getting dirty. Sometimes we get them dirty out there. Shades of some sort. You know, these are $350 Rudies. You don't need that. You can get a $2 Walmart pair of glasses, will be fine. We're not wearing shades to protect our eyes from ultraviolet rays, things of that nature. It's a short class. We're wearing these shades to make sure a rock doesn't come up and hit us in the eye, or a bug doesn't fly in our eye, and then we let go of the handlebars and scream and grab our eyes, and all of us fall down at one time. We don't want that to happen, so we got to have something to protect our eyes. And last but not least, hang these glasses over here. Last but not least, you got to have a helmet. Okay? Helmets are extremely important to me. This could save your life. 98% of all the fatalities on a bicycle happen with people that are not wearing helmets. So this may not look good. Actually, I'm going to be the first one to tell you that you don't look good wearing one of these. Nobody does. I mean, nobody can make this look good. These are ugly pieces of equipment, but they're necessary. And a lot of guys come to my class, especially my road bike class, they'll show up with a helmet hanging on their handlebars. They'll ride their bike from wherever they're coming from to class with the helmet hanging on the handlebars. Then once we start riding, they'll put it on. You know, I hope that you understand, I want you to wear this even when you're not in class, okay? It may not look good, but it could save your life. It actually has saved my life before. This helmet has a big crack in it. And it's one of those things that I'm glad that I had it on when I did have it on. So it's one of those things you have to have in my class. You cannot ride a bike. You show up without a helmet, you might hope that I have an extra one in my truck, and most of the time I do, but if I don't, if somebody else has already borrowed it, can't ride that day, okay? So you make sure that you have a helmet. If you rent a bike from me, you need nothing. Again, everything is furnished on the bike, so you don't have to have anything but just show up and ride. So attire, something comfortable. I'd wear something that has some kind of wicking properties to it, something that will kind of keep the moisture away from your body. It's pretty hot right now, but when we're riding, you get a little breeze blowing across you and things of that nature, so it shouldn't be too bad. But those are the main things that I need you to have. I mean, I need you to have a water bottle, some type of hydration device, some type of helmet for sure. I need you to have some type of shades to protect your eyes, and then make sure you have those things on your bike that are necessary for us to repair the bike in case something happens when you're out there, you have a flat or something, so we can get everybody riding and keep everybody going. Okay, hopefully that's all of that. Now let me just talk to you quickly about the grading procedure and about what we're going to do in this class. First of all, from a grading standpoint, your grade comes from 4 areas. You have attendance grade, you have a book grade, you have a skills test grade, and you have a final. Okay, the attendance grade has nothing to do with me, all right? I teach this class because I absolutely love riding a bike, and I want you to be as passionate about riding a bike at the end of this class as I am right now. And I know that's going to happen, but I want everybody to make an A. If you don't make an A, I feel like I've failed. That's what I get paid to do. I get paid to teach you how to ride a bike properly. If you can't ride a bike properly at the end of the semester, then I've not done my job. So I'm going to do everything I need to do to make sure everybody in this class makes an A. The only thing I can't do is I can't help you on the attendance. That's a Baylor policy. 75% of the time you have to be at class. You can only miss 25% or you fail. A lot of students make a bad mistake and they think, you know, yeah, I missed 7 days, but they were excused. It doesn't matter if they're excused or not. Excused means that you can make up the work. You can't make up the day. It still counts as an absence. So if you miss 25% of this class, no matter what happened, if you were in an accident, if you had an emergency at home, it doesn't really matter, the excused or not excused, you will still fail. Okay, so I have 2 bike classes, so the good thing is if you miss one, you can always sometimes make it up in the other, but I wouldn't make it a habit of being absent because that's really out of my control. The second grade comes from the book. The book's important. The book is called Cycling 101. I wrote the book. It's got a lot of things in there about nutrition. It's got a lot of things in there about the equipment that we use, about repairing bicycles, about how to exercise. The main thing it has in there is rules of the road and safety. It amazes me, and it also appalls me how bad students are about riding bikes here on campus. It's a wonder someone doesn't get killed. Every day I look and I see people on a sidewalk on a bike, jumping off the sidewalk into traffic, going up the bike lanes the wrong way. You guys, a lot of times it's not because you don't know. I mean, because you're just doing it because you do know and you don't care. It's because you don't know. And we don't do a very good job of educating people as a whole on how to ride a bike properly. So, I mean, one of the biggest things we can do in this class is to make sure that you can ride your bike safely in a group and on a road. That's important to me. Cycling is extremely fun. Again, I love mountain biking a lot, and I like road biking as well. I mostly ride my mountain bike on the road, but the problem with road biking is it can be dangerous. And that doesn't matter if you're in a car or if you're walking or if you're riding a bike. People are crazy on the highways. Okay, and you got to take care of yourself, and one of the ways we do that is to make sure that we understand the rules and the regulations of riding on the road, and we know what we're doing, and we can do that confidently. A lot of times when you have accidents, it's because bicyclists are doing something that a car doesn't expect. That'll get you in a lot of trouble. Sometimes it's just cars do things that are crazy. Okay, and we're just, we have to be careful on that. But the rules of the road, extremely important. So you got to do the book. A lot of people say, well, I'm not going to do the book. That's only 10% of the grade. It's 10% of your grade. So if you make 100 on everything else and you don't do that book, the best you can do is a 90. Remember, a 90 is an A- in my class. So you got to try to make sure that you get that book done. It's a very simple, easy thing to do. Okay? It won't take you that long. It's required, and here's the thing. Don't buy a used book. Some of the bookstores sell used books. I will not accept pages from a used book. Every book that's every student that's ever taken my class, I grade those tests individually. There's tests at the end of every chapter, and I turn it back to them. So if you buy a used book, you're going to be stuck with turning a piece of paper into me, a notebook paper with the answers on it. I will not accept that. It has to be a new book with the answers that you write on that book and turn into me so that I know that you did it. Again, I know that sounds petty. It's important to me to know that you read the book, that you did it, and that you just didn't write somebody else's answers down. I know you guys are above that, but it's important to me, so make sure you get the book. Skills tests are, again, that's my deal. If you can't do the skills at the end of the semester, I failed, and I'm not going to fail. you'll be able to do the skills. The skills on cycling are pretty simple. I want you to be able to change gears properly, brake, stop, start properly. I want you to be able to move in and out of traffic properly, and I want you to be able to ride in a group properly and safely. Those kind of things, you'll get it really quick. We're going to do a lot of practicing in the parking lot before we ever get on the streets. It's a very safe class. We're going to make sure we do things right. I want you to know though, anytime you ride a bike, there's one of two things that probably will happen in your life if you ride long enough. One of them is you're going to fall. We've been doing that since we were kids. If you ride a bike, you're going to fall. The other is you could get hit by a car. It doesn't matter where you are, you could get hit by a car. It happens every day across the country. We have a lot less chance of that happening if we do the things we're supposed to do. And when we're riding a group, the odds go way, way, way down. Cars can see a group of people. They can't see one person riding by themselves at night without lights on their bike. Those kind of things will get you in trouble. But you'll know how to do everything once you've taken this class. So that's 40% of your grade, and I promise you'll do great on that. The other 40% comes from the final. We're going to take the final the last day of class. Next to the last day of class, I'm going to go over every question. There's like 70 questions that come straight from the test out of the book. I'll let you know exactly which questions are on there. I'll go over them. I'll give you the answer. All you got to do is memorize. You're going to make 100 on the test. So that's not going to be hard. It's also not going to be hard because we're going to talk about that stuff so much it's going to be second nature to you anyway. But I'm going to give you an out. If you don't want to take that final, you can ride in the Waco Wild West. Nancy Goodnight is a good friend of mine. She puts on the Waco Wild West, which is a great, great bicycle race here in Waco to raise money for a great cause. On that bicycle race, we have 25, 50, 75, and 100-mile routes that are pretty cool. If you do a 50, 75, or 100-mile route, you don't have to take the final. And I know you're thinking, Coach, I'll just take the final. I'm not riding my bike for that far. 40-something students of mine did it last semester, 44 the semester before that. They love it. It winds up being one of those things where they say, Coach, I've never ridden more than 3 miles in my life, and I made it 50 miles. A lot of my students have made it 100 miles. They wind up riding with me on weekends when I'm training. It winds up being one of those things you absolutely fall in love with. And this race is the greatest way for you to be able to do that, in that the city of Waco closes the streets. We have policemen at every intersection, making sure that the bikes can safely cross without any car interference. We have a rest stop every 10 miles that gives you free food and free water and free towels for your neck. If something happens to you and you feel like you just can't make it all the way, they'll put your bike on a trailer and give you a ride back to the Farrell Center. So it's about the safest, easiest way for you to ride a bike, and it's a wonderful way for you to get an A on your final. And I would encourage you guys to think about doing it. Every semester, a lot of guys do it. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to be out there with you. I'll ride the 50-mile route with people, and then I'll skip over from there and I'll catch people on the 100-mile route, and I'll finish up with them. I do it on a single-speed mountain bike every year. So, you may think it's tough, but it's not that tough, and I think you'll enjoy it. This class is going to be fun. I think you're going to have a great time. I hope I've given you an idea of what you're going to need. I just didn't want to wait and come back and us have to spend another day in the classroom going over something because I had to be out of town or I had to miss the first day. So this is going to be fun. I promise you it's going to be one of the most fun classes you have here at Baylor. Make sure you get a bike that's in good shape. If you don't have a bike, let me know. I'll get one to rent for you. Make sure you get the materials that I talked to you about. Get the book. Get started on that. When I get back, that'll be one less thing we'll have to do. The sooner you get it done, the sooner you can turn it in. And I promise you guys, it's going to be a great class. I look so forward to it. Cycling has become a big part of my life. It's a great way to stay in shape. Matter of fact, it's one of the best ways to stay in shape. It's free. You can get on a bike and ride anytime you want, anywhere you want on your schedule. Sometimes I'll ride 30 or 40 miles at 8 o'clock at night because that's when I get off or that's when I have time to go do it. It's not like I have to take a class in a gym somewhere at 4 o'clock or I got to go to a class over here at this place at 5:30. This is something you do on your time outside that costs you $0. It's hard sometimes. You can make it as hard or as easy as you want, but it's something that you get through with even when you do hard rides and you go, wow, I'm soaking wet with sweat, but that was so much fun. I can't wait to do it again. So I encourage you guys to get excited about this class like I'm excited about it. I think we're going to have a blast, and I look forward to seeing you here in a couple of days. So again, I apologize for not being here the first day, but I'll make up for it when I get back. Thanks a lot.